Assalamualaikum and lovely evening to all. I'm Zakiah, your MC for today. And for today's segment, we'll be having a talk discussing family issues. And with me right here is none other than Miss Alya Husna, a family counselor. So Miss Alya, what's your opinion regarding the domestic violence happening today?
Assalamualaikum, my name is Alya Husna and I'll be talking about the topic of domestic violence. Domestic violence is a serious problem that can be seen around every society from families of both developed and underdeveloped countries and of different backgrounds. It is a global issue reaching across national boundaries as well as socioeconomic, cultural, racial, and class distinction. It is defined as violent or aggressive behavior within the home, typically involving the violent abuse of a spouse or partner. Although there are various cases of domestic violence against men, children, and the elderly, women account for the majority percentage of victims of domestic violence. Domestic violence is not restricted to only physical force, but also includes sexual, emotional, and financial abuse, and also frightening threats that often amount to a pattern of coercive control. Since the advent of COVID-19, most part of the globe implemented lockdown to curb the spread of the virus. This has tested people's emotions, feelings, and the way they act. Of course, it has also tested their patience, resilience, and their ability to be kind. If you can see here, the figure above shows the total number of offenses, excluding fraud, flagged as domestic abuse related by month, January 2018 to June 2020 in England and Wales. The statistic shows a huge leap between this year and previous year, but of course there are a few factors to keep in mind which contributes to the leap. First, if the police have improved their offense reporting practices, then of course the willingness of victims to come forward to report domestic abuse, and since domestic abuse is often a hidden crime that is not reported to police, therefore, data held by policemen provide a partial picture of the actual level of domestic abuse experience. Many cases will not enter the criminal justice as they are not reported to the police.
Thank you, Miss Alya, for the information. Moving on, today we have one of the families who faced this issue at home as our guest. I was informed earlier by the wife actually that this segment is their last resort before putting their marriage to an end. So, Miss Zarina, firstly, I am truly sorry for what happened to you and your kids. But as a wife, can you share a little bit about your current situation and the problems you face at home?
Assalamualaikum. My name is Zarina, and in today's segment, I am going to share about my marriage story. So, my spouse and I have been married for years and have 2 children. Throughout this time period, I was often beaten and tortured by my husband. Because I want our marriage to remain tight, I am willing to let my body suffer, to be physically and emotionally abused, and to be repeatedly insulted rather than seeing a divorce as a realistic solution. I feel terrible for the lives of my children if we get divorced. I'm afraid the children will grow up without the father. I'm scared to break my children's heart and have several other considerations concerning about them. My children, on the other hand, are also often abused, and they always cry when they witness the state of our marriage. I was scared to take any action, even considering of running away, because I thought it was the consequence of a married life which did not escape from being filled with conflict. So from my perspective, women's major reasons for not reporting domestic violence cases are almost identical. Firstly, because of the economic dependence on the husband. Second, the woman's fear of public stigma that they are incapable of being a decent wife. Additionally, she is afraid they will think that she is unable to take care of her family. Finally, we are also fearful for our children's mental and emotional health if the society judge about their broken family. I always believe that if my husband victimizes me again, it is my fault since I am incapable of being a nice wife who can assist him in controlling his emotions. I continuously pray and believe that he will eventually change for the better. But even though I have been patient over the years, it seems like the abuser's mentality is difficult to get rid of. Thus, I choose to report this domestic violence case in order to relieve my children's and my own fear. as well as to educate society about the dangers of remaining quiet if they have ever been mistreated.
Again, I am beyond sorry to hear such kind of horrendous experience you have. Now, may I ask Nabilah, as the eldest child in the family, how does your father treat you and your sibling?
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nabilah. Every time my parents quarrel, my sister and I will be the place where when they are angry. My father would keep us hard with his hands or a belt until it left bruises. Sometimes he also would kick and scold my sister every time when he saw her, even if she did not do anything wrong. When I go to school, my friends and teacher will ask about my face, my hands. They ask what happened to me, but of course, I did not tell the real story about what happened. Other than that, I thought that I fell. I become very good at pretending that nothing was wrong with me around the most people, but inside, I was a mess despite how I present myself to the world around me.
Clearly, it must be traumatic to you to deal with such situations, especially when you're still young, right?
I clearly remember the day. It was really traumatic with my mother's dog scattered everywhere. When my father slept, my mother until she fell down the stairs. That accident happened right in front of my eyes, in front of me. But I couldn't help her. My father just left the house. Soon after this all happened to me, my view of the world was never the same as before the abuse. I tried to drink away the memories. That's it.
My name is Aina. Dad always beats mom after he got back from work. One day, he hit mom so hard that she fell off the stairs and she bled. My sister pulled me into her room and we hid in the closet. At first, I didn't know why we hid in the closet after Dad got angry. Then later, I showed him a drawing from school. At first, he ignored me, but then he hit me. It was so scary. I ran to my sister's room. We climbed on the bed and we cried. I am still scared every time he calls my name or my sister's. We will hide in the closet when he did that, and we were hoping that he wouldn't find us.
After listening to the stories of the abused ones, I am eager to know from the father himself. Why? Why did you do such things to your own family?
My name is Adzleena and I am the husband and the father. As the MC was asking, why do I abuse my family? I am a busy working man. Of course, I feel tired from all the work I have done at the office. All I want when I come home is a peaceful place where I can rest physically and mentally well. But then, they never understand me. They never give me the space I deserve. I feel like they do not really care about my well-being. Do they ever ask how was my day? How do I feel? How was work today? Is it stressful or not? And so on. Just, simple question that show you care about them. In fact, they keep messing with my head even more. With my wife making here and there about the smallest things that should not be a big deal. Keep being pushy and controlling, ask me this and that, and it eventually leads to a fight. My children, they always play so loud and often do things I dislike. Also, my children always fight with each other. With all the yelling, screaming, wailing, things just get even messier. When I scold them and try to break the fight, they shout and talk back to me. The disrespect, I tell you, does not help at all. With me already being so tired with all the stress I've been holding in, that really triggers me.
Okay, so from your explanations, it seems to me that you are unable to control your anger most of the time. So may I know, do you possibly having any problems that you keep it from your wife and family?
I am the only one who is working in this household. I go out early in the morning and come home late at night, working my fingers to the bone to provide them a comfortable life they are having right now. Not to add all the workloads and miscommunication I am facing at my workplace. I was ordered by the seniors and high-ups to do most of the things that are basically out of my job scope. I cannot lash out and express my anger towards them since I do not want to lose my job. So it actually resulting me in stress. And when I go home, I feel like I am a ticking bomb that makes even the smallest mistake that triggers me to explode. In that moment, I can no longer control myself and venting out all the pent-up frustration. I know you will say that I'm just making up excuses, but this is my point of view.
Okay, so basically you know exactly what the root of these problems are and how much it has affected you and your loved one, right? Then don't you have any regrets for doing that?
Of course I do. I am still a human and they are still my family. Sometimes, after the damage has been done, I do feel guilty seeing my loved ones all bruised up and injured. And the fact that I know that it's all because of me, making me hate myself even more. I can see their hatred towards me in their eyes, how they seem so scared and terrified when I'm around. I feel like I do not deserve them to be in family, but I do not want to lose them. I do not want to let them go. Honestly, I know I should be treasuring them. Without them, I wouldn't be here, where I am now. They used to be safe space, the home I have been yearning for, but things just keep on messed up. Everything just pushing me to my limits. Day by day, it gets tougher for me.
Sure, problems can only be worse if we do nothing about it. But the real question is, do you have control over your action? I mean, during the abuse?
I do.
We heard what the victims mentioned earlier about the type of abuse experienced by them, which is mostly physical and emotional assaults. As I mentioned in the introduction, domestic doesn't only cover physical assault, but also emotional, sexual, and financial abuse. We need to understand there are always consequences to our actions, especially of the abuser towards their victims. Domestic abuse is a serious and pervasive problem. It has devastating consequences for its victim, their families and friends, and the wider community. A vast body of research has unequivocally established the impacts of domestic abuse on women's physical and mental health. Abused women are twice as likely to experience chronic physical health conditions than non-abused women. The lasting effects of trauma may cause chronic physical problems throughout life. Undergoing trauma or witnessing trauma are associated with risks of cardiovascular disease, arteriosclerosis or hypertension, gastrointestinal disease, diabetes, arthritis, obesity, HIV, and AIDS. Women who have experienced domestic abuse also report higher levels of depression, anxiety, and stress disorders such as PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, eating disorders, low self-esteem, self-harm, and suicidal attempts. In children, on the other hand, the effects of growing up in a household with domestic abuse is pretty complex. Children do not have to directly witness the abuse to know that something bad is happening, and they may overhear an argument or see their mother's injuries, or maybe pick up on the tension between their parents, which can be a pretty scary and confusing experience for children. Children may react differently depending on their circumstances. Often, however, children will have a range of emotional, physical, and development difficulties. Children who have lived with domestic abuse may experience depression, severe anxiety, poor concentration levels and focus. They may have difficulty learning and limited social skills. They may also exhibit violent, risky, or delinquent-ish behavior. The biggest predictor, though, of children living with domestic abuse, they might grow up to become the perpetrator of domestic abuse. By witnessing abuse, children learn powerful and potentially destructive lessons about the use of violence to maintain power and control. Next is the solution. For couples who seek to resolve an abusive relationship, a meetup with a therapist regularly is highly recommended. Even if it's a bit risky, as there is always a possibility of relapse. But if you are committed to change, then why not try, right? The first option is the Quick Complaints initiative created by WAO, Women's Aid Organization. It is an organization, Malaysian NGO, that provides free shelter, counseling, and crisis support to women and children who experience abuse. You can contact them at the WAO hotline or the TINA, which is available for you for 24 hours a day. The initiative aims to provide advice, help you explore your options, and schedule a face-to-face consultation with you. You can also access WAO services such as shelter and crisis support by contacting the WAO hotline or TINA. The second option is more if you are injured, you can go to the OSCC, the One Stop Crisis Center at Government Hospital. It is located at the emergency rooms of Government Hospital. At the OSCC, doctors provide medical treatment for any injury and also collect medical evidence which can be used in court. You can lodge a police report at the hospital if you wish to make one. The OSCC can also help you assess police protection, shelter, legal advice, and counseling via the medical social worker or social welfare officer. It is, however, not mandatory to make a police report for domestic violence in order to get medical treatment. Medical services at the OSCC are free for survivors of domestic violence and sexual violence. Lastly is the EPO, IPO, and police report. EPO is the Emergency Protection Order from the Social Welfare Department, CCFM. It is an order issued by social welfare officer instructing the perpetrator to stop committing acts of violence towards you. An EPO can be obtained at any time by calling Talian Noor at 15999, which is available 24 hours a day, or by visiting the nearest GKM office. Second is the IPO, the Interim Protection Order. You can ask the police officer to start the application of the IPO. IPOs are a court document which prohibit perpetrators from committing abuse and are valid throughout the police investigation. Spouses, former spouses, or family members of perpetrators can apply for the IPO. However, the IPO does not cover for non-married couples. Lastly is making a police report. You can report any act or threat of violence. You can make a police report in Bahasa, in Malay or English, either by typing it yourself at the police station or by orally dictating it to the police officer. You can also draft your report in advance. In your police report, write down the details of the abuse, such as what happened, when it happened, date, and the estimated time where it happened or who was involved. Make a copy of it for yourself. If you don't want to press charges but would like to document the incident, you can make a cover report instead of action report. That's all from me. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Miss Alya, for such extensive information. Before we end our segment, any last word from husband and wife to each other?
I hope that my husband, as well as the other men out there who often unleash their anger on their wives and children, can learn to be more responsible, because they should be wise in regulating their emotions as the head of the marriage. Always strive to find peaceful solution to difficulties rather than resorting to violence, so that the marriage can remain harmonious and the children will grow up in happiness.
I'm not the ignorant guy who would not change his stance. Yes, I know I am the wrong one here. I should not use any violence for whatever reason it is. Problems won't occur only from one side. Both sides need to take responsibility. From my side, I know there are a lot of things I need to do to manage myself. My anger issues, my stress management, and so on. I do admit I need help. It won't take just one night for me to change 180 degrees. I do hope my family will be more understanding of me and can help me in being the better version of myself. I won't promise that I won't be the same person as I was before, as I'm afraid it will just be broken later. But the only thing I can offer to my family is that I will try my very best to be the person that they can call home, the person they will always need, and the father and the husband I could not be before.
Okay, all of us here will surely pray for your family and even all the families out there to receive the happiness you guys deserve and to own a family that can be your safe place and comfort zone. And to those who are watching, who know or even involved in domestic violence, please seek help. You can contact the hotline number shared by Miss Alya earlier, or you can just share your concern to anyone you're comfortable with. Always remember that to seek help is never a weakness, and there's always people who are willing to help you. Family is the most valuable treasure anyone can have, and we must treat them as they are. I think that concludes the segment for today. So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and have a pleasant night, everyone.